Hey, sweet friends, it's Tracy. Welcome back here to Country Charm by Tracy. Today I'm going to share an inside look of my Lucky Little Things handmade collection that I created for my shop over at countrycharmbytracy.com. There's lots of whimsical pieces that I created for this launch. Many of these are St. Patrick's Day theme, but what I want to reassure you is you can take the ideas, the inspiration, and create them for other seasons. I'm using a lot of budget friendly materials as well as some Dollar Tree materials that keeps the cost down, but also provides value for our customers. So let's take a look and get inspired together. And also, if I have anything still available, you can check the store tab here on YouTube and it will show you exactly what I have available. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into today's inspiration video. Here is how I created my shamrock hearts. Now I'm using upcycling some of these brown bags that I got from Amazon. I get some of my products, shipped them. They are very thick, and I'm going to turn them into some beautiful St. Patrick's Day decor. I also made some for Valentine's Day in red and also vintage pink. And so here is my shamrock for St. Patrick's Day. So for the hearts, I find that when I cut them together and then kind of glue it there on that one side, it kind of holds, and I can keep the two pieces together. And so then I make sure that I keep a little hole for me to put my little stuffing in. So I'm just painting them green. I think this is forest green, which is an Americana color. And so then I'm using some Dixie Belle buttermilk in my fan brush just to give some of the whimsical touches that I like. And so then for the bow, I'm going to use homespun fabric as well as, just some other different fabric and some sari silk ribbon, as well as add a cute button in the center. For the tag, I just tore off, kind of ripped to give the tattered edges just a little muslin fabric, and then just hand lettered blessed, and then put my little happy dots on there. Also added a rusty safety pin there in the corner. And so these right here, I'm offering these as individual little inserts, or I do have some sets available if the customer likes the rusty spring. And so like I mentioned, I had made some for Valentine's Day, and so I had a few customers reach out and say, hey, this would be great to have the different inserts for the different seasons. So that's kind of what I'm working on. That's kind of where my thought is going. And so this is what I have available for this round. And this little shamrock heart just turned out so adorable. This is my Shamrock Clover heart shadow box. That's kind of what I'm calling it. I'm using these 8x10 wood canvases that I pick up from Amazon, and I just stained the edges of them just with antique wax. Now I just took some scrapbook paper and cut it, and then Mod Podge that for the top and the bottom. And then I have some of this brown and white ticking fabric that I got from Walmart. And so I ripped down pieces of that, and then I'm going to be Mod Podging that also to the back of the canvas just to give it the look that I want. And so if you're not familiar with the Mod Podge heat transfer method, you put some Mod Podge on your surface, let that dry, and then put your paper or fabric or whatever you're doing. And then I'm just using a little mini Cricut mini heat press. A small iron would work as well. And then I just kind of heat that up. I use a piece of parchment paper to act as a buffer so my iron doesn't get messy. And so then to kind of give an illusion for the heart where it's kind of like hanging, I have just some of these small just wood items that I got from Hobby Lobby. And then I'm going to make kind of like a little knob at the top, look like my little heart is hanging. And so I'm just adding a little bit of glitter to the back of my surface. So I just use my adhesive spray. I just use Gorilla spray adhesive, and then just some diamond glitter. I think it's kind of like snow swirl or something like that. And so then some of these hearts are in the Shamrock green color, and I made a little blessed tag. I made the little bow, and then just attach those to the center of the heart just to make the shadow box. This is my little lucky leprechaun Coke bottle. Guys, I absolutely love painting on little bottles like this. I do have some Santas that I've done. I've done bunnies, I've done Uncle Sam's, and now I'm adding this little Oliver lucky leprechaun. Guys, this is a Coke bottle that a friend, I saw them drinking it, and I was like, hey, can I have that after you're finished? Because I want to paint on it. And so that's what I'm doing. To paint, to get my paint to stick on there, I use Boss Bond by Dixie Belle. It kind of acts as a primer. I'm using Evergreen by Americana. Now for the beard, now I got this beard over at Hobby Lobby, and so what I'm doing is cutting just the back with a box blade, or you could use an X-Acto knife, something like that, so that it doesn't cut the fur, because I don't want it to look choppy. I want it to look wispy, and so I just figure out, how big I want my beard, and then I just trim that down with my box blade. And so then I just paint on a flesh color for the face. I'm also going to use a sock that I got from the Dollar Tree for his hat. And so then just painting up around the edges just to give it, that country look that I want. I'll add a cute little face and all of the little whimsical details that I like. Now, if there's something that I'm doing that you're unsure about, just leave me a comment and I'll be happy to answer. For this project, I'm using these wood blocks that I got from Hobby Lobby. They were in the wood pile section. I bought a pack of them, and so they have different sizes at different times. So what I did is I just gave them antique wax, just stain that. And so then I'm going to be putting some fabric on it, but since this block was very small, the Mod Podge method did not work very well. So I pulled out my Yes glue paste, and that worked much better. So I'm going to be using that on these smaller blocks like this. And so then I have these beautiful transfers from Essential Stencil, the Luck of the Irish Essential Stencil. They have beautiful artwork. They're very easy to work with. So I'm just figuring out which ones I want. And so also I wanted to share with you that you can cut the transfers apart. Like if you want to use, like I'm doing here, I want to have some of the gold coins on one side and then a part of the other transfer on the other side. And so that's what I'm doing. I just cut it apart and just figure out where I want it. And then just use my transfer tool to transfer that on there. And then I just take that plastic and go back over it just to kind of set it or burnish it. That's what they call it. So then here you'll see I pulled out my Yes paste that I got from Amazon. And so I'm using that to adhere the fabric for the other one. So what I did, these are small little blocks that are like for tier tray or vignettes, mantles, shelf sitters, something like that. And so then now what I'm doing is I am using my Crystal Sparkles glitter glue. Now I went on Amazon and I could only find diamond. So I don't know if they don't make crystal sparkles anymore or if they call it diamond now. Anyway, but I use that just to add a little bit of glitter or a little glistening to my little blocks here. Alrighty, this little lucky leprechaun frame is using this gold frame from the Dollar Tree. It was a little too bright, so I just took my sander and just kind of sanded off a little bit of the shininess, and that worked like a charm. Since this was a St. Patrick's Day and I'm doing a lucky leprechaun little frame here, I thought this gold color was perfect. But these frames are also great to paint and that kind of thing. I usually use chalk paste or chalk paint rather, and I get a pretty good coverage. All right, so to attach my ticking fabric to the back of my, just the backer of the frame, I'm just using the Yes paste. And now this is a glue, and I'll have a link for it in the description box if it's something that you're interested in using. I just use my little transfer tool just to kind of squeeze out any of the excess, and then once that dries, then I trim off any of the little fabric. So I'm using the beautiful or the cute little leprechaun rub-on transfer from the St. Patrick's Day essential stencil transfer set. Absolutely love working with these. They're just so cute and high end looking, just beautiful little artwork. And so I'm just figuring out how I want my little picture to go. I cut apart a little bit of the gold coins and then just kind of position my little lucky leprechaun on this. I'm going to make a cute little bow to go in the corner, and this little decor piece is just so cute. And again, I am just here to inspire you, to encourage you. I am a brand ambassador with Essential Stencil, and so I just love to encourage, my viewers, my followers, just friends who have, purchased. Your purchases do help me, and I do appreciate that. And I just want to give you ideas of what you can do with these beautiful transfers. this project is using another one of those transfers from Essential Stencil, the Pot of Gold. This is a smashed can decor, and I wanted to kind of encourage you to inspire you to kind of think outside of the box. And if you are looking for some recycling or upcycling, just tin cans are a great way to do that, to make little pockets, little posy pockets, just like this one. And so I have a smooth edge can opener that I cut off the tops where, they're not jagged around the edges. I got mine is an electric one that I got from Amazon. They also have handheld ones and that kind of thing. But I'm just, again, just to encourage you. And so what I did is I just smashed the bottom of it the best that I could. And then I just painted it with some of that Boss Bond, just the in white. It's kind of like a primer, and then I went over it in buttermilk. And then I'm just going to be adhering my transfer. This is the Pot of Gold from the Luck of the Irish rub-on transfer set from Essential Stencil. And so I just use my little transfer tool just to adhere that, and just use my Kills Dark Wax just to give it a little bit of, darkening around the edges. Now for the board, this little thin board is a very lightweight. These come from the Dollar Tree. I love working with these. I just use my drill just to drill 2 holes in it. And so what I did is the chippy, finished chippy technique. I just used some brown chalk paint. I think it's Chocolate by Dixie Belle. And then I took a wax tea light candle, went over that, and then went over it with buttermilk chalk paint by Dixie Belle. And then I just took my sander just to chip it up and that kind of thing. And then to give it a little bit more of the slatted board look, I'm just using some of these, 2 of these giant craft sticks that I get from Walmart. And then I'm going to make it look like where it, goes across the top and across the bottom. And then I attach my can to the board and just make sure it's all secure and everything like that. And then just to fill it, I just have some of these gold coins. I have some, just different green flowers and just florals and that kind of thing. I also made a little bow to go on the side, added a jute hanger, and this decor piece is so cute. Again, I'm just encouraging you. I just want to inspire you to, think outside of the box and use some of those aluminum cans because they make the perfect pockets. This sweet project is using a wooden heart. I think I got these at Dollar Tree, and gave it a coat of the chocolate Dixie Belle paint. Let that dry. Then I went over it with the tea light candle, and I'm just rubbing it all over because then I'm going to be putting on buttermilk chalk paint. I love the chippy look, and that gives me the look that I want. So once that is completely dry, then I take my sander. I get a better chippy look with my little gator sander. Some people get a better chippy look with a paint scraper, but if I have little thin wood projects like this, I find that my little sander, my kind of heavier grit sanding paper, gives a little bit more chippy look. Now if I have a thicker pine wood or something like that, my paint scraper works better with that too. All right, so the Clover is from Hobby Lobby, and it comes already on this metal kind of tin backing. So I wanted to scuff it up just a little bit because it was a little too bright. So I am just attaching that to the middle of the heart there. And then I just hand lettered blessed and loved, or loved and blessed, something like that, and just put my little happy dots on it. Added some pip berries, a fun fabric bow, added a jute hanger to it, and this is absolutely adorable. So simple, but yet just provides so much love and just sends a message of unity. So I found these tinsel hats in my St. Patrick's Day box. I have no idea where I got them from. They didn't have a tag on them, so I don't know if they came from the Dollar Tree or somewhere else. I picked them up along the way, but I decided to turn them into a more rustic country little leprechaun hat. So I just took off the tinsel. It has the plastic frame, and then what I'm going to do is use one of those Amazon bags. I found another purpose for the Amazon bags, guys. I get quite a few of these because my packages come in thicker. And so I'm just going to figure out how I want to form this on here. I wanted the bottom to have a little form. So I just took some cardstock and I'm going to cut out a circle and then cut out a bigger circle of the brown bag. And then I'm just going to cut it to lay nicely on the brim of the hat. And then I kind of cut the middle of that paper bag to go around the top of the hat so that it would fit on there. Nicely. And then I'm just going to start wrapping the brown bag around there. I just glue it as I go along. And I love the texture that it gives. And so, again, this is just another idea to use those brown bags. Now, since I don't remember where I got these from, as I was doing this, as I was finishing it up, I was like, this would be great. They're all kind of like recycling items, like aluminum cans or bottles or different things like in our pantry or stuff that we usually throw away. Yogurt cups, that's the first thing that come to my mind. Or I don't know, like those cereal cups, like the individual little cereal. I don't know. I was just, as I'm doing the voiceover here for this video, so I'm just kind of coming up with a few things. And so just this is just a pretty budget friendly craft that I did that I wanted to share here in my St. Patrick's Day, collection here that I have going on. But as I was doing it, I was like, oh my gosh, this would be so great to make for bunny hats. And you could just make them for all different holidays and stuff like that. So again, my purpose is here to inspire you, to, hang out with you, to help you figure out some things that you may think outside of the box. Maybe you want to craft for yourself, have a girls' night, or maybe you want to get together with friends and do some crafting. These are great to do like that. People could bring their own recycling items, and you can cut some circles to use as a brim and make you some of your own little lucky leprechaun hats. And I absolutely love how these turned out, and I hope you do too. These are chalkboards that I've had on hand, and they were a little scuffed up. So what I did is I just took black paint and I just painted over the surface of them. And so then that gives me a nice slick surface to start with. So then I'm adding school glue, just putting some of that on that, and I'll let that dry to a tacky consistency. Then I took my buttermilk paint and went back over it. And once that dries, that gives a crackle finish. So that is going to be what I'm going to be adhering my little artwork to. I just added antique wax just to give a little bit of rusticness to it. And the trucks are from the Luck of the Irish set from Essential Stencil. So I'm going to be using both of those. That's why I have two boards here. So I'm going to adhere that to this one, and then just take my little transfer tool, and I just like to take my time and go, and I lay it back down. If it doesn't come up right away, I just lay it back down, take my transfer tool, and it adheres very nicely. Then I take my dark wax by Kills and then go around it just to kind of give it just some shading around it, kind of bring it out. Then I'm taking my Diamond Sparkles glue, or actually this is paint. I get this from Amazon. And so I'm just going around my little decal here just to kind of make it kind of sparkle just a little bit. I don't want anything too overbearing, but just kind of bring it out a little bit. And then I'm just hand lettered God's blessings delivered daily. And so I just did that on just some old age parchment paper that I got from Hobby Lobby. And so then I added a swag of greenery and just different coordinating ribbons. I put a jute hanger on it, and this door hanger is absolutely adorable. It's even better in person. Sometimes pictures don't capture the whole thing, but I absolutely love how this turned out. So this is how I made my little Clover pocket here. I just love how it turned out. Now, guys, I'm just using a wood board from the Dollar Tree. These measure 7 inches by 5.5 inches. And what I'm going to do is adhere some of this green and cream colored cardstock paper to it. I'm going to be using the Mod Podge heat transfer method. And to get me the crisp lines, I'm just kind of measuring it on the board and just use my Gator sander just to go around the edges just to get a clean cut like that. Then I'm going to be doing the Mod Podge heat transfer method just by putting some Mod Podge on, let that dry, and then use my Cricut heat press just to adhere that paper to the back of the board. And then to decorate the board a bit, I'm going to be using these white tiles. Now, these are just plastic tiles that I got from Hobby Lobby. They were in the clearance area. They probably are for like backsplash or something like that. But I was like, I can use those for crafting because I love, the tin look and that kind of thing. So I just cut those apart and just with scissors. And there was a little adhesive on, two of the sides, but I just used my stick fast glue and hot glue just to glue those down. I did leave myself room to put in my florals and that kind of thing. And then for a decorative look, I just have some of these nails that I got from Hobby Lobby in the woodpile section. I just put those in each of the corners just to give a decorative look. I also put a jute hanger on the back. These would be great to be tucked into like a vignette on a mantle, side table to give as a gift or something like that. And so I just, again, am here to encourage you, to inspire you just to make small things like this, to give as gifts or to make and sell.